Communities of Shalom now is 22 years old. It started back in 1992 in South Central Los Angeles in the aftermath of the Rodney King incident and verdict. Some will remember how when the three policemen who were caught on videotape using excessive force after stopping and arresting motorist Rodney King on that street in Los Angeles, they beat him while their supervisor looked on. So everyone in LA that saw this incident knew what had happened, had seen it over and over and over on the news media. So the policemen couldn't get a fair trial, they said, in Los Angeles, and they took the trial outside the city of Los Angeles, and there, with an all-white jury, with folks who had not seen the videotape, these policemen were found not guilty. And the aftermath of that outrageous, unjust verdict resulted in 3 days of what they called rioting. It was really a social uprising. Fires of LA, National Guard called, and LA was burning. One of our United Methodist pastors at the time in 1992 was Reverend James Lawson. James Lawson was a civil rights leader with Martin Luther King in Memphis, and he was he was the trainer of the Freedom Riders, and he was a trainer for nonviolent direct action with Dr. King, and helped organize the sanitation workers' strike in Memphis back in the day in the 60s. And he was a Methodist pastor in Los Angeles, and he was an eyewitness to his city burning, LA burning. The United Methodist Church General Conference was in session, and James Lawson and the delegation from Los Angeles came to General Conference of the United Methodist Church, and they shared on the conference floor what was happening in Los Angeles, even at the time of the Methodists in our meetings that we meet every 4 years. And when James Lawson prophesied that the church needs to be about peacemaking in places like his neighborhood and places like South Central Los Angeles while it's burning, what can we do? What will we do? Will we stand by and watch, or can we get involved? When he was giving that prophetic call to prayer and fasting and action, another pastor at General Conference later became a bishop. His name is Joseph Sprague. And Joe Sprague, Pastor Sprague, stood up on the conference floor, was recognized by the presiding bishop, and he had a proposal. His proposal was that we, the United Methodist Church, create in South Central Los Angeles something like a Shalom zone, a prototype of an empowerment zone, of a conflict resolution, conflict transformation zone, of economic community development, of community organizing in a small geographical location, in the hope that that kind of intervention in Los Angeles would catch on in other places of need around the world. And sure enough, that resolution was unanimously, it seemed, accepted. No opposition. Offerings were taken. People were empowered. Bishop Felton May was selected as the organizing bishop to organize a general conference-wide, denomination-wide response to Los Angeles burning, but not just Los Angeles, to our whole nation and eventually world. And that was 22 years ago. It's caught on. Since that time, over 650 Shalom teams have been trained in this Shalom approach to community development. Today, perhaps 130, 140 Shalom sites are active in some degree, from soup kitchen work to community building and building houses or coffee farming in Uganda. All sorts of projects in between in the whole spectrum. But what Shalom ministry is not is that it's not strictly evangelism and discipleship ministry. It's not church outreach work. It's not church programs. Shalom ministry is coalition building. The focus of Shalom is on the community, not on the local church, not on a church program, not even on an organization for organizational survival, not even on the denomination. It's multi-faith. It involves all the traditions of Abraham, Christian, Muslim, Jewish. Buddhists when they're willing. In fact, anyone who is in the neighborhood, anyone who is in the community has a stake in the quality of life in that community. And so a Shalom Zone is successful when it can recruit and bring to the table all the members, all the representatives of all sectors of a community. Not just local churches, but the business sector, the educational sector, the business community, the residents. Shalom is not successful if only church people show up at a table that says, let's do something in our community. The focus is on community. The work is on coalition building. The work is not done until a generation comes and goes and you can see tangible transformation of systems that need to be changed. So it's a long view. It's not band-aid approach to needs. It's not even a need-based approach. It's an asset-based approach. It's not for everyone, but it's those who feel called to the words of Jeremiah, seek the shalom of the city where I've sent you, and pray the Lord in its behalf. For in its shalom, you'll find your shalom.